This is the sort of thing you must test for yourself. You must experience this for yourself. For a lot of human beings at this time on earth, the entire life is dictated by what you can see, hear, taste, touch, and smell. And I'm here to tell you that there is a whole universe that exists outside of the realm of what can be measured in that way using your sensory biological mechanisms that are installed in the human physical body. All right, welcome back to another video about S.A.T.S. S.A.T.S, state akin to sleep, the portal state of awareness, this special window of consciousness that allows you to access extraordinary realms of awareness. Now, I'm very passionate about teaching S.A.T.S as a practice because I have seen in my life how it is access to a whole realm, a whole world of possibilities that can only be seen, that can only be experienced, felt, ventured into when you learn to see beyond that narrow window of the five senses. Now, most human beings are slaves to the five senses, meaning that their entire life is dictated. For a lot of human beings at this time on earth, the entire life is dictated by what you can see, hear, taste, touch, and smell. And I'm here to tell you that there is a whole universe that exists outside of the realm of what can be measured in that way using your sensory biological mechanisms that are installed in the human physical body. Now, I'm also going to tell you, don't just take my word for it. This is the sort of thing you must test for yourself. You must experience this for yourself. Now, the best way to do that is to practice with S.A.T.S. Now, what is S.A.T.S? S.A.T.S is this narrow state of consciousness, a door that can be accessed and is accessed by default 2 times per day. Once in that little window where you're transitioning from the unconsciousness of sleep into the consciousness of wake. That's at the beginning of the day in the morning when you're first waking up. And the second is window when you are transitioning from being fully awake, being fully active and aware and present in so-called average, normal waking reality, and transitioning into the unconsciousness of sleep or the dream plane. Now, there's a window in between, the window to the in-between, the door to the in-between that we call the portal state of consciousness, and Neville calls it S.A.T.S, or state akin to sleep. Now, we have the opportunity to practice with this very specific and very unique state, this state akin to sleep. And I gave you in my last video, I gave you some ideas about how to go about doing that. I talked about what times of day I found to be best for accessing this window. I talked a little bit about why we set up our bodies the way that we do to access this little window of consciousness. And in this video in particular, I want to talk a little bit about what you must do to prepare your body for a venture into the portal. If you're going to open a portal and step through it, it makes sense to do a little bit of preparation ahead of time. Now, I can really only tell you from my own personal experience what I have found to work best. And again, don't take my word for it. You have to experiment with this for yourself. So there's a couple of things that we need to become aware of in order to prep ourselves for this journey into the portal state. Now, the first of these is very practical, pragmatic, the biology of the body. Okay, so for this, I'm looking at, do I need to eat something? Have I eaten something today? Have I given myself ample nutrition? Is my basic body in a good place to go into this type of journey? Now, these types of journeys into these types of states of consciousness tend to be energy intensive, meaning that I find that I'm better equipped to explore some of these deeper aspects of this deep mind meditation, or to go into the portal state and to explore the multiverse, when my physical apparatus, my body and my brain, which is the antenna, which is kind of like the receiver that is bringing me back so that I can process the information of what my awareness is experiencing in these portal states, I got to make sure that I'm set up for success. So for me, that means I eat food, not real heavy food. I eat food that my body likes. I kind of have my own understanding of what that is. It may be different for you. I'm not going to tell you or try to prescribe for you a specific diet. In fact, any Goddard I know wouldn't tell you what to eat, because we all understand that it's very subjective. You have to eat what makes your body feel alive. And there's certain foods that are going to give your body a burst of energy, and there's other foods that are going to bring your body into a sagging state of energy. And when you start to understand that you can evaluate food from those two perspectives, what gives me the lift, what gives me the sag, when you're preparing to journey into the portal state, for the day ahead of taking this practice, or if you're practicing every day, all the time, consistently focus on feeding your body foods that give you that lift of energy. Okay. Step 2, basic biological considerations. You got to make sure that you've peed before you lay down and you're going to go into this portal state. Make sure your bladder is empty. Make sure that you're, kind of in a good state altogether. Now, for some of you, being well rested might make this easier. For others of you, being a little bit low on sleep will make accessing these states of consciousness easier. It can go either way, and I don't want you to write off the opportunity to explore just because you're feeling well rested or just because you're feeling not well rested, but do understand that on the not well rested side of that equation, there is kind of a tipping point. And until you learn to hold your focus, until you learn to train your attention to where you can override the body, if you choose to do that, until you get to that level of power in your consciousness and power in your awareness, chances are, if you are on that tipping point and your body needs to rest, you need to actually fall asleep, you are not going to be able to maintain a waking state of awareness during this practice, and you'll just end up napping. Now, napping is not a bad thing. Napping can actually be a good thing. And in a lot of cases, if a nap is what you need, I would rather have you take that nap than try to travel during that nap. Really, the traveling is for once you're in that place where you're good, you're grounded, you're ready to go, all systems green, and you can actually take off and lift through the portal, okay? So very basic biological considerations here. Now I want to talk about your emotional state, okay? If you are in a place of emotional upset, particularly because you are responding to something in the so-called 3D, something you can measure with your 5 senses, you got to understand that from an energetic perspective, if you could step outside of your body and you could look at your body as an energetic system, you would see that there is a disturbance in the energy field around your body. You would see essentially a storm brewing in the energy field around your body when you're having an emotional reaction to something that you're measuring with your 5 senses. Now, this is not necessarily the best time for you to try to travel through the portal. The most appropriate way to face situations like this would be to deal with the emotional disturbance, emotional imbalance first, to make sure that you are able to let that storm pass, feel the storm in the way that you need to feel, process it in a healthy, grounded way. And if you don't know what that means, stay tuned, and we bring you a lot more information about how to apply some of these advanced techniques to weather the storms of life. It's very normal to have stormy situations happen in life, but we as Goddards can learn to rise above them and to handle ourselves in ways that are befitting of our true identity of who we truly are. Now, point here being, you need to deal with any storms that are in your field first before you try to enter the portal state. Now, there's some very clear tools that we can apply to this. And even if you have a very pertinent storm brewing, you need to go face that storm rather than trying to escape it through the portal state. You're not going to have a great experience trying to venture into the portal if you have a storm brewing in your field. However, once you've dealt with whatever that storm is, there is a very basic tool that I'd like to bring your awareness to in terms of preparing for this journey into the portal state, and that is the tool of heart coherence. Heart coherence. Now, I teach this in all of my courses at the School of Imagination, Heart Coherence. I do guided meditations. I teach you exactly what the practice is, and we practice with it every single day so that you literally build this increased HRV, which is a measure of your emotional and physiological resilience, and also your ability just to handle the ups and downs of life. I teach this in my courses, but it's available for free everywhere. You can go out and you can Google or search what is heart coherence, and you will find very simple practices and meditations, a lot of them right here on YouTube, that will guide you into this state. The bottom line is that the more coherent your energy system is, again, stepping back and looking at your energy field, from a third party point of view, you want a nice, coherent bubble of clear, clean, liquid-like energy surrounding your physical body before you attempt to journey into the portal state. Now, these are the very basic preparations that you need to take. You need to get your body ready. You need to get your mind ready. You need to get your spirit ready. You need to get your emotions ready. And this is something that if you're going to build a serious practice of exploring the portal state, these are all things that you need to consider. Before you get in a car and you take a long cross-country road trip, you check the oil, you make sure there's air in the tires, you make sure that the car itself is in sound mechanical condition. And we have to view this journey into the portal state of awareness with an equal amount of diligence. We have to really look at this and say, look, I take this practice seriously. I'm going to journey. I got to make sure I'm in a good place before I go. Now, I'm keeping these videos, kind of short and to the point, kind of punchy on these ideas. So I'm going to go ahead and stop here and tell you that if you have more questions about this portal state, I want you to subscribe to my channel right now, because I'm going to be bringing you more content about the state akin to sleep and how to prepare your body to enter into it and what to do once you get there. And for those of you who are really into this, who are really interested in what understanding the portal state can do for you and your life, understanding this really is superpower training. It really is superpower training. Humans have superpowers built right into their biological systems, and we can learn to access them. And for those of you that are ready to take this exploration to the next level, to dial it in, to hone it, you want to go to a training camp for this, I have that available. It is the Portal Retreat. It's coming up just after the equinox this year. You can check out my website, portalretreat.com, for all of the details. We're meeting in the Catskill Mountains for a 7-day training event specifically on this state. Now, I will be back with another video to help you prepare to start to build this practice. And until next time, imagine wisely, my friends, and I'll talk to you soon. The School of Imagination. Find us online, schoolofI.org.